This segment is sponsored by Michigan Auto Law. Anyone who's had a teenage driver in their home knows the worry that accompanies that stage of life. But here's some peace of mind. Did you know there's a curfew for 16-year-old drivers? They're supposed to be off the roads from 10 p.m. to 5 a.m. unless they have an exception. And attorney Brandon Hewitt is here from Michigan Auto Law to explain. Hi, Brandon.
Hi.
16-year-old drivers off the road, 10 to 5. That sounds pretty good. What are the exceptions to that curfew, though?
All right. The state of Michigan put in these graduated driver's licenses a while back, and 16-year-old drivers have what's called a level 2 graduated license. So they have some restrictions on what they can and can't do in the car. And one of those is this curfew from 10 p.m. to 5 a.m. And the exceptions are limited. So driving with a parent, you can drive with a parent. You can drive with a driver who's over the age of 21, as long as they're designated by the parent. Doesn't mean that the 16-year-old can just go out with some friends and, put a 21-year-old in the car and they're fine. The parent actually has to give permission for that. And then there's an exception for driving for purposes of work or a school designated function. There's probably not a lot of 16-year-olds working between 10 and 5 a.m. That's the idea, and probably not a lot of school functions that are designated to take place between those hours. So the whole idea is to really take some of these younger, less experienced drivers off the road during these kind of more dangerous periods of time.
We are in the midst of the so-called Deadliest Days of Summer. Explain what that means, Brandon.
Yeah, so it's the summertime. So from Memorial Day to Labor Day, the incidence of teen driver crashes goes up at least 15%. More drivers on the road, more kind of carefree kind of joyriding happens, and a little bit less attentive driving probably happens during the summer, higher speeds. And so it's a good time to pay attention to these curfews, and especially during dangerous time during the summer.
Do they step up enforcement of the curfew during this dangerous period?
They do. So you're going to see some more police officers out there on the roads paying attention. And look, the fact of the matter is teen drivers are 3 times more likely to get injured in car accidents than other drivers. As much as, the teens might bemoan this rule and these graduated licenses, honestly, looking back, I wish they had this when I was, a new driver. I think if most of us are honest with ourselves, we weren't great drivers during those first few years. So I think it's good to get the experience, get them out on the road, but with some kind of protections and guides to make sure that everybody stays safe.
What's the penalty if they break the curfew?
Well, the immediate penalty is a civil infraction, so it's going to be a ticket. But for the 16-year-old driver, you could face some more serious penalties. You could have your full license delayed or denied. So when you are 17 or 18, you go to apply for that level 3 full license. They might put you on probation for a while as far as driving. You can also be penalized being a passenger in, teenage drivers curfew breaking violation. So if you're a passenger in that car and you're a teen, you could also have your license more restricted. So it's just meant to bring a little bit more attention to this and keep people safe.
Yeah. When does a driver, grow out of the curfew, so to speak? When is it over for them?
So they're going to apply for a level 3 graduated license when they hit 17.
Got it.
So, you have driver's training, you have your permit at 15, 16, you have that graduated 2 license with some restrictions on it. At 17, then, as long as you have a safe driving record up to that point, so a year's worth of driving experience, none of these violations, at 17, you can apply for a full license.
All right. This is protection for the young driver, the rest of us on the road, and those parents who worry so darn much. Brandon, thank you so much for sharing that with us. And of course, to contact an attorney, check out michiganautolaw.com.
Thank you as always.
Thanks.